All right, so what we're going to do today is work with some basic one-point perspective. For this, you'll need a piece of paper, a pencil, a ruler, and an eraser. To understand this, the very first thing is simply understand that all things go to a vanishing point. So for one-point perspective, what we're going to have is just one vanishing point. Now, there are other methods of vanishing points, such as 2-point perspective, 3-point, 4-point, or as many vanishing points as we'd have. But for this, we're only going to be talking about using one vanishing point. And we're just going to put that right there. Now, using that one point, we will create all lines that are called orthogonal lines to this point. So if your eye, or sorry, if the image has a shape, our shape would be just a square here. All lines that go away from us, so the front is the square, it's straight on in one-point perspective. But all lines that go away from our eye go to the vanishing point, and these are called orthogonal lines. Again, they will go straight back to this point, like so. Now what we're doing is we are creating an illusion, and that illusion is simply that there is three-dimensional space, so we have extra depth here, but it's on a two-dimensional surface, which is a flat piece of paper. Again, any area that is straight on to us is flat, so we have horizontals and verticals, which make the square. But in order to make it a cube, we have the orthogonal lines going to a vanishing point. Now, if we want to cut this off, what we would do is we would match our lines. These are transversal lines. So where we have a horizontal line, I can choose wherever I want to cut this off. It could be way back here, way up here, but what matters is that my lines stay parallel as much as possible. Again, and the reason I got these clear rulers for most of you is that you can see the line through there, so I can actually use parts of the ruler almost as a straight edge or a T-square. So I can line up that edge with this, and I know I have a pretty straight line here. Same thing with vertical. So if it's vertical here, so again we had a horizontal line and then a vertical line. Here we have our horizontal line, so we are missing our vertical line. So we do the same thing, nice and straight. We bring this down. Again, we try to get it as straight as we can. And then we would erase the leftover orthogonal lines. So the lines that are left, we don't need. And we're going to end up with a very simple cube. Now again, this cube is below the vanishing point. So if it is below the vanishing point, we can see the roof. Let's put a square above the vanishing point this time. And this time I will use my ruler, which I should have done in the first place, to draw my lines. So they're nice and straight. Again, we really should be using a ruler for all parts of this project. Or not even a ruler, but a straight edge. Any straight edge will do. So even if it's just a piece of, the edge of a cereal box, that's still straight. Okay, again, we look at this and determine what corners we can see from the vanishing point. Now, the way I like to do this is I like to put my pencil on the vanishing point, and then I can put my ruler on the vanishing point, and then it allows me to rotate it without leaving the vanishing point. So as I rotate, when I get to my first corner, I'm going to draw my line from my vanishing point out, and then return back to my vanishing point. Continue rotating. When I get to my next point, I'm going to draw the line out. It's a little off. And then I go back to the vanishing point and continue on to the last point there. And again, draw your line. Now you'll notice I didn't draw this line. That is because we don't see that line. It's behind the cube. However, if I were to take a line and open it up like this, So there's a hole there. If I can see this corner now, so if this is solid and I can see this corner, I can see the corner here. And I again would cut it off. So now it looks like you can see the inside line. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to get a little more complicated here. If I were to cut this off, so here's my vertical line, a horizontal line, Now, if I did erase these, that inside line is going to be wrong. It's not that I'm going to change it, but the line is too long, and here's why. If I can see the vertical and the horizontal, I can see the horizontal's here, and it meets the vertical there in the corner. Well, then I can figure that if there were a back wall here, I can see the corner. Therefore, we would know where the where the horizontal line is. Now, this isn't exactly right because this line connects to this corner and this doesn't quite go to that corner. It could, it's slightly off, but it works for the general purpose of showing you the design. Now, if we have a horizontal, just like we have this horizontal, next from the corner, we have a vertical. So there's my horizontal, there's my corner. That means we still need a vertical line. Again, try to keep it nice and straight. And I'm going to erase the leftover orthogonal line. And what you should see now is more of a negative space. So do you see how this is open now? There's a hole in the box on the top. Okay? So what we did was essentially we put a negative space like a shoebox. But if I did this correctly, your brain should perceive that it's supposed to appear open. So if I did something like this, we can see where there's something going through it right now. Okay. So again, if you did it correctly, and I'll make this part real tiny here, so it doesn't mess up our view. Let's see if it works. Yep, it's fine. Okay. And now you can see there is an object here that is piercing the other object. See how it looks like it's going through that object? And again, we can rotate this any direction. It's not going to matter because we're still using our vanishing point. Okay? So again, we have one vanishing point and simple forms. Let's do one more. Let's do something round. So if I put a circle in here, circle is not anything difficult. Don't be nervous about it. It's pretty simple. Again, I put my pencil on my vanishing point, and instead of rotating toward the corner, I just rotate until I touch the circle. As soon as it touches the curve, the outermost edge of the circle, I draw my line. Back at the vanishing point, I rotate until I get to the very edge, last part of the circle. So see how it's not touching any of the circle anymore. It's like right there. I draw my line. Okay? Now, if you've had my class before, you know that I always say a curve is a curve is a curve, or an angle is an angle is an angle. But a curve is a curve is a curve means that when I go to cut this off, a lot of times I see kids get this far, and then they go and draw a straight line right here. That can't be right. Again, curves match. So if my curve is this nice, strong circle, I'm going to come down here and draw a nice, strong circle. Same curve if possible. And then I will erase my orthogonal lines, and we end up having a cylinder. All right, so this concludes how to do a pierced object with negative space and a curved object, or just a simple cube. I hope this helps you out on 1 point perspective.